But can you separate the coach who wins a lot of games from the guy who off the field has done some things that are pretty bad? Auburn can separate that.
All right, let's go to the flashiest one. Auburn. I believe this was destiny. Hugh Freeze needed back in the SEC, and where else was he going to go than Auburn? One of the funniest things is the Auburn boosters made up and tried to manufacture a personal foible scandal to get rid of Brian Harsin last year, which turned out to be untrue, so that they could rally around a coach that had a personal foible scandal. They were outraged.
Oh, yeah.
About something that didn't happen, so they tried to slander the guy. Also, they could hire a guy who did worse than what was alleged. Auburn at its finest right there.
Yeah.
They had to have him. I was like, where else is he going to go? Pat. This is going to be entertaining. That's all I kept saying. I was on Feinbaum yesterday, and they're like, he's like, what do you think? I'm like, I love it. Entertaining. I don't give a
content.
Yeah, he's like, oh, what about the ethic? I'm like, it's Auburn.
Yeah. No, that's it. I think crazy attracts crazy, and this is the perfect match. This is a guy with a lot of baggage who can win games at a school that does not care at all about baggage and wants to win games. It's a school that is desperate to beat Alabama with a guy that beat Alabama back-to-back years, the only guy in the last decade to beat Nick Saban in back-to-back seasons. So it fits, and yes, we can drop all the pretense, we can drop the artifice and all the bullshit of, he's here to mold men and instill character and a man of great integrity. No, let's just say what it is. We want to win. We think we can win with him. And so there you have it. And, so yes. And I will say, yes, to your point, Dan, what he did with that program was an absolute weasel move. He threw Houston Nutt under the bus. He lied completely to a lot of people. A lot of people believed him because he was Bible thumping Hugh and, he built up these buddy-buddy relationships with a million people. And it was all completely false. And that was a really bad deal. But okay, you go and you're out of the profession for 2 years. He got the Greg Sankey silent show cause when some people tried to hire him as offensive coordinator. You go to Liberty, puts in his time there. He wins phenomenally at Liberty, including some big victories. All right, fine. We're not going to sit here and say you can never go back to the SEC or anything. Go get the job. Fine. And now we'll see how it goes. Part of the deal is he's supposed to say off social media. Okay.
Yeah. This reminds me of one of those debates of separating the art from the artist. People talk about musicians and stuff like that, and who, maybe do some unsavory things off the stage. But man, still can't get that song out of my head. Got to keep listening to that musician. And can we separate the coach from the person? The person obviously, did some things off the field, not only, as Dan mentioned, with his players and lying to them about the sanctions that were coming at Ole Miss and making up stuff about Houston Nutt, but obviously the escort situation at Ole Miss, and then lying about it to his boss. There was a lot of lying going on. But can you separate the coach who wins a lot of games, whose staff and players seem to like to play for him, seem to love him, from the guy who off the field has done some things that are pretty bad? And that's the question here. Auburn, right, and no surprise, can separate that as we saw. But a lot of schools cannot. And a lot of schools passed on him over the years because they cannot separate that. The reaction from social media, and let's keep in mind, 7% of America is on social media. So it's not indicative of everyone. But the reaction on social media, specifically the reaction from actually a lot of Auburn fans on social media was probably more visceral than I expected. There's a lot of people out there that are not separating coach from person. That they cannot do that. And there was more of a blowback than I thought. Of course, I'll look at social media, Auburn Twitter, when Freeze wins the Iron Bowl and is 11-1. We'll see how the reaction is there, because again, that's when everybody probably is going to separate coach from person all of a sudden.